It's a great day. My name is Che Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission really is to empower. Our mission is to inspire. And our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the hard-working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. On this episode, we have the one and only Marla. She's in the building. And she'll be talking about from mic to happiness and then using the mic to connect with your audience and grow your business. What an amazing thing. What's going on, Marla? How you doing?
I'm doing great. I am happy to be here. I am fired up. So let's get to it.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate it. Thank you all the viewers for tuning in because, well, without you, we don't have a show. So we really appreciate you. You have a lot of choices. All right, let's just jump into what I would call the elephant in the room. Folks will read your bio and see how famous you are later. They'll see that. Some folks have already Googled you. Thank you all for doing that, by the way. Good students. I know some of you. But you're wondering, Shay, what's this whole mic to happiness? And why in today's world are people struggling to be able to speak and get their message out and connect when they have AI that can give them everything they need? They'll even write the speech for them, okay? And they also have Instagram to get motivated to go give the speech. And they can watch a YouTube video and get the best ways to deliver a speech. Yet today, they're not connecting with the audience. What's holding them back, Marla? What's some of the reasons why?
Yeah, great question. And this is so true. It's still the #1 fear is public speaking. And the reason for that is because you're being judged. You're putting yourself out there and people, it's just human nature. They're going to judge you. And a lot of people, worry about that. How do I look? How do I sound? Am I confident? Am I going to forget what I want to say? All those things that people worry about. And so they hold back from speaking. Or what I see sometimes is people go out there and speak, but they're not themselves. They go out there and they're this, almost stoic talking head, and they just give information. And that's not what people want. People want a conversation. They want to connect to you. And there's a lot of ways to connect. That's one of my favorite talks that I give is let's get engaged. 10 ways to engage your audience so you attract clients.
I love it, by the way. You said attract clients. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you read a title and it says scale your business. Some of you want to I'm ready to grow my business. I got this thing wired. I just got to grow it. Don't worry. We're going to talk to you. But first, I want to slow down. We'll speed up. Let's talk to the person out there that says, look, I'm a leader, Shay. I can do what I do, my little organization. But when it comes to speaking for the business, something magical comes over my body, or I struggle with that mentally, or I do it, but it's not connecting. Why are people still so afraid of speaking in the year that we live in today? Yeah, why is that still the case?
Yeah, it's just human nature. We it's about being judged. It's also about, forgetting what you're going to say. And for some people, being on camera, it's just weird. We weren't used to being on camera. We're used to being in person. So for being on Instagram or being on any social media platform or something like this, people, they're just not as comfortable because they're not used to it. And they don't know, how do you reach through the internet, reach through the camera and really connect to people? And there's a lot of ways to do that. But just addressing this fear again, you mentioned, how you feel in your body. That's so much of it. It's embodiment. And when people are stuck in their head space or their head energy, like I call it, as opposed to their home space, which is not just speaking from the heart. You hear a lot of coaches say, well, speak from the heart, connect from the heart. And yes, absolutely speak from the heart. But also, you got to speak from your whole body, from your gut. There's more serotonin in your gut than there is in your head. That's where people really connect and feel each other, when you can speak from this place and not just from our cluttered head that has our to-do list and our critical mind and, just it's cluttered with information. So it's really important that you get grounded and you get in your body. And you can't intellectualize about it. So I show people through an exercise how to get grounded and be in your body fully so that your communication changes, becomes more connecting and more authentic.
Well said. I like that, by the way. And we're going to get into her background. We'll get into her backstory in a moment. We'll figure out how she got involved in this and what was the turning point in a moment. But can we talk to the entrepreneur that's out there? A good part of our audience, about 70%, I'll say, are dualpreneurs. Shout out to all my dualpreneurs, all my 9-to-5 millionaires out there. Yes! Nothing wrong with having a job. There's nothing wrong with that. And they're like, well, wait a minute. I do want to grow my speaking business. I do want to connect with the audience, and I got to use my speaking as a way to grow the business versus just writing a check to ads to social media. Let's just call it media these days. So I guess my question is, what's one or two ideas, we'll get into others in a moment, that you would share with someone who's, I'm not gonna say they're a veteran, but they say, I can do this, but they want to be able to connect deeper with the audience. They're like, man, I like how she said a deeper connection with the audience. What's one or two ideas that you would say to that person that's watching right now?
Yeah, so there's so many ideas. So I'll throw out just a couple of them to start. And then when I talk about my story, you'll hear, what happened to me. The part of it is your intention. So a lot of people on social media, they're not opening their energy. And this isn't a woo-woo thing. It's a real phenomenon. Our energy is 70% of our communication. It's not the words we're saying. So how do you open your energy so that you not only speak at the audience, but you invite them in, whether you can see them or not? So hopefully you're doing a lot of speaking where you can interact directly with the audience and you do see them. But if you're on a podcast, or you're on a show like this, or you're doing a Facebook Live or LinkedIn Live, then you may not see your audience. But how do you still see them in your mind and talk to them as if they're right there in front of you? You're not talking to some machine, some computer or a camera. You're talking to people, real people that are out there. So one is the intention. Number two is engage. Don't just talk, engage. So it could be doing an activity. It could be just asking for them to give you a thumbs up. Again, whether you can see them or not, just getting them to move physically helps people to then move mentally and emotionally. Sometimes I get people to stand up, even if it's online and I can't see them fully standing, just to get them to move. Instead of, what a lot of people do is just say, put a 1 in the chat or put me in the chat. And that's one way to engage people, especially if you're online, obviously not in person. But I feel like that's overused and it's not really that engaging unless you're asking for some really personal information and say, well, put what your goals are or something like that in the chat. But otherwise, it's not that engaging. How can you engage people, especially physically? And if it's a small group, then ask questions, create two-way conversations, create an activity where they're interacting with each other or they're interacting with you directly, because engagement is what it's all about. They want to be engaged. It helps them feel connected and not just talked at.
Engage and connect. This is a good point, I think, to talk to the audience about who are you and what's the backstory. There's someone watching right now like, I have no idea who this person is. We're playing in the background. Maybe we're on your desk, on your iPad, and you're working on your computer. And this is stuff that you like to listen to this because you want to learn, you want to grow. Or maybe you're in the kitchen. Maybe you're cooking dinner right now. And we're playing on your big screen TV. Hey, that could be possible, by the way. Or maybe you're in a podcast. It doesn't matter. Don't worry. I'm going to ask Marla Press to slow down and tell like, who are you, Marla? What's the backstory? And the question that they love to ask is, what was that defining moment that you said, you know what? I'm going to help other speakers become better speakers and have joy while making money. What's the backstory?
Yeah. So it was a really convoluted zigzag road for me, as I'm sure it is for a lot of you out there listening, where you didn't just 5 years old, you knew what you were going to do and you went and you did it. It doesn't always work that way. Although I wanted to be a writer when I was 5 years old and a choreographer soon after that. I did grow up in theater, in musical theater. And so I was used to being on stage ever since I was age 9 and maybe even a little before that. And I was in dance companies. I was in theater all the time. So being on a stage was natural for me and I felt really comfortable. And I wrote a lot of speeches. I was a good writer. So I always volunteered. When no one else would volunteer to give a speech, I would volunteer all the time because I love it. I love writing. I love the written word, and I love the spoken word. It has always spoken to me. So that was something that's just part of me. But here's the defining moment. So I got my degree in psychology. So I have all this background in psychology, and I help people because as a speaker, stuff comes up, right? Imposter syndrome, not looking good enough, worrying about being too much, all those things. But I was a practice management consultant for a number of years and in the medical field. And so I spoke around the country, trying to get clients, right? And I had great information. People love my information, but I wasn't getting a lot of clients. And the moment that changed everything was when I spoke in a small group, and the leader of that group said to me, "You have a wall up." And I guess I wasn't shocked to know that, but I never really acknowledged that, nor acknowledged that that was stopping me from connecting to my audience. And that's what changed everything. And I studied the art of presence, and I learned how to open so that I don't have this wall up anymore. And I won't go into the backstory of why the wall was there, but I know a lot of people have a wall or at least a door or something that is keeping you from being fully expressed. And even if it's just a little bit that's stopping you, people will feel it. They will feel that they don't quite trust you. They're not quite fully invested in you or wanting to invest in you because there's something there. We all have blind spots. That was my blind spot. I knew I was a good performer, but you can't just be a performer. What I teach people is you have to balance. They're almost opposites too. You have to balance that entertainment factor and that interest factor and that connection and trust and authentic factor. And they're almost opposites. They're almost hard to do at the same time, but you need both with every talk and every time you're in front of people, whether it's one-on-one, which is one thing I love about my work, is that it does help in every relationship. It makes your whole life happier because it helps in relationship, in connecting in a different level.
Thanks for sharing your backstory, by the way, and thanks for being so open and vulnerable with us. As you were speaking, you talked about in the title, scaling your business with joy. And joy means different things to different people. So when you use the word joy and use the word happiness, what's your definition of happiness so we can be on the same page? And then what does joy look like and feel like? And then, ladies and gentlemen, don't worry, I'm gonna come back and ask to give you maybe 1 or 2 ideas to help you scale the business. But let's talk about happiness and joy. Are they both the same? Or are they one and the same? Or what does it even look like and feel like these days?
Yeah, I see happiness and joy as the same thing. And I feel like, especially if you're an entrepreneur, if you own your own business, if you're a coach and you're a solopreneur, there's so much to juggle. There's so many things to do. There's so much to take care of. There's so many decisions. And, the joke is you leave your 9 to 5 to work, 24 hours a day because there is a lot to do. And a lot of people lose their joy. They think they get into it for the freedom and the joy and being their own boss, but there's a lot to it. And that's why so many businesses fail in the first 1 to 5 years, is because of that. So having a joyful outlook and knowing how to keep the joy going is what keeps a sustainable business that long-term is going to be successful, as opposed to just hitting that grind and, and not keeping track of what is your why? Why do you do this? Not just what do you have to do, but why are you doing this? Why are you passionate about it? What gives you meaning? Why is this important to you? And when you do that, you feel the joy. And then when you build relationships with some of the techniques that I use, it's mostly exercises. It's not information. It's transformation. It's experiential exercises and visualizations that really transform how you approach the world. And to have that joy is it's a key factor in a sustainable long-term success.
Sustainable long-term success. What a great segue. What a great connection. If you had to step back, and you've given so much already, ladies and gentlemen, but just I can ask whatever question I want, and you just say, "Wow, what's one idea?" You got a lot of ideas, like you said. There's a lot, and you go all at different places, different spaces, different backgrounds. We get that. We can say, Shay, here's one idea that someone could use to scale their business from a speaking perspective. Because somebody like Shay, I want to speak and I want to get paid. Okay, we're going to talk to you right now. And there's a lot of ideas, and I'm going to suggest you connect with her. We're going to tell you how to do that in a moment. But I'm going to ask the question that might be on all your mind. Hey, what's just one idea, if you could share, that someone could use to be able to be attractive, like you said, to be able to speak and get paid as a speaker? Any suggestions, any advice that you would offer along this journey?
Yeah, so speaking is the best, the fastest way to grow your business, to scale your business. When you're starting your business, it's the best thing you can do, because you need to be visible. People need to hear you and see you and understand, what are you offering? You need to be clear and concise and yet entertain. So it's really important to become a good speaker. And then you can start out doing Facebook Live, or you can start out doing your own interviews or on social media. You can start out just posting. You can start out going to your local women's group or your local Rotary Club or those kinds of things and speak on smaller scale, and then build up to the bigger scale. But speaking one to many is how you scale your business. It's tough to always do the one-on-one. So how do you do one to many so that you impact more people? But there is an art and a science to what audiences want, how you can be effective, how to make your content compelling, how to tell stories so that you invite people in and help them identify that they have the problem and you have the solution. Because we all have challenges, right? So what are their challenges? And how do you address that? How do you have mic drop moments so that people really go, oh yeah, I feel that? How do you add emotion? Not too much emotion, the right amount of emotion so you get people inspired. How do you make an offer? Because most people, a lot of speakers come to me and they say, I want to get paid to speak. And they want to, they expect, oh, I want 15,000 for my first speech. That doesn't usually happen. And, there are people, depending on your background and your credentials, maybe you can get that. But even that, you can make a lot more than $15,000 from one talk if you know how to do it. And that is making a free offer or a low-cost offer and selling from stage. And then you can get a lot more people to come in and be in your program so you can impact them. And some people just want to be a motivational speaker and they don't have a program. Then you can get paid to speak. And depending on your story, you might get paid quite a bit. But for most of us, whether it's, you're half corporate or whether you're a solopreneur, speaking one to many and making an offer is how you scale your business quickly. But again, those offers have to be clear and concise and interesting and enticing, and it has to logically flow from how you start your talk to when you make the offer.
Perfect. Well said, by the way. No, that was well said. You can make more money speaking, serving, than you can just speaking, getting paid. And I mean, I don't know, you could have summed it up even better. Perfect. It's a great segue as you were speaking to a segment we have here, by the way, called Today is My January 1st. Now, for those folks that wait to every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because you know what we're about to do. In fact, you love saying those magical words. You can go ahead and say those now. Today is my January 1st. Happy New Year to you, by the way. And for all the new folks who are joining for the very first time, welcome, welcome, welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show family. Today is my January 1st is our personal mantra here. It represents a fresh start. It represents a do-over. It means our past, no matter how dark and gloomy that past is back there, or how bright and sunny the past is, you know what? The past no longer equals the future. And so my question for Marla is really twofold, by the way. She can handle two parts. Number one, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st. What do you even hear? What do you feel? And number two, was your life always perfect? Was it a setback you had in your business or life? And if so, what was the comeback? How were you able to come back from it? Take it away.
Yes, I love this January 1st idea, because really every day it's up to you to create it anew. You don't ever have to be held back by your past. You can always move forward every day. No matter what decisions you've made, you can change those decisions. No matter what choices you've made, you can change those choices, and be open. A lot of people, I think that, an issue that I see a lot of times is they have a goal and they think there's only one way to make that goal. And they get so stuck in that pattern that it holds them back, because sometimes we need to adapt and be different and evaluate, is this working? And you want to give things time to work. So it's not like you're constantly changing. That doesn't work either. But how do you evaluate, is this working? And can I make a new decision? And no matter what your past is, no matter where you've come from, you can always rise above. I love one of the quotes I like to say is, everything's up for grabs. There's tons of opportunity out there. No matter what the economy, no matter what's going on in your personal life, everything is up for grabs. So grab for it. Now,
Keep going.
so
I just love that. She's so
I know,
good.
wait,
I just touched me. I'm like, wow. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, I love that. It's like pause and let it land, because that really is important. So I spoke about one turning point for me was realizing I had this wall up, and the wall was from trauma. And so I sort of knew it was there, but I didn't really realize how much it was affecting my communication. So that was a huge turning point for me. And I was willing and open to learn new ways of opening up and letting down that wall. And, that V word, the vulnerability word was not an easy one for me to overcome. And, maybe that's you. Maybe you tell stories, but you don't tell the hard stories. And maybe that doesn't have to be part of your story. I don't talk about that very often as far as trauma goes, because it is way in my past. But I realized that was a turning point for me. That was an important one. And when I was doing a therapy for people and life coaching. I'm a certified life coach, and have my degree in psychology. So I did a lot of therapy for people. I cured phobias. I helped people with sexual abuse and eating disorders. So some real serious stuff. And I've also just worked as a life coach and worked on things that were more life coaching, that weren't so deep personal trauma. So I've done all that. And it wasn't until COVID happened that I realized that the coaching business, the entrepreneurial business, the startups increased by about 800% at that time, because people, had to work from home. They realized that they had to reevaluate their lives. Maybe they weren't happy at their jobs, or they just wanted to try something new. They realized life can be short. And so much change was happening at the beginning of COVID. And that's when I pivoted from doing just the life coaching. I also am certified to teach the art of presence and the art of feminine presence. And I was teaching just that before COVID and doing the life coaching. But I realized that since so many people now wanted to promote themselves as a coach or an entrepreneur and promote their products and services, they weren't so good at it. So I went to a lot of networking groups, and people just went, they just kind of all sounded the same after a while. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can help with this. And this is going to be really important, because so many people are struggling with being seen and being heard, and with this number one issue of fear of public speaking. So I thought, oh, I love public speaking. I love being on stage. I love being creative, and I love helping people speak, so people listen. Because I wasn't listened to at some point with the trauma that I had. And so it's a personal mission of mine to not only help you speak so you promote your business, but speak so that you as a human are being seen and heard.
Seen and heard as a human. Isn't that what it's all about? Not just being a robot, not just being another talking head, but being seen as a human being. You know, as we come down the home stretch, we got to have you back, by the way. We got to have you back. But a two-part question, because this is just amazing. Number one, what type of clients are you looking to work with these days, if any? Because I'm not sure if your firm's taking on any clients, so we like to know that. And then number two, where can people connect with you? If they're like, look, Shay, I want to stay in this conversation. I want to get more. Is there a website? Is there a place? What should I do? Because I love what I'm hearing. Go ahead and share with them, please.
Yeah, so I'm always looking for new clients because I help people pretty quickly, so they do move on at some point. And I love, excuse me, I love working with mission-driven, conscious entrepreneurs and coaches, because I really do want to help you help more people. So I work with realtors, I work with doctors, I work with executives, and I love working with them too. But my faves are people that are really on a mission to help other people. And I want to make sure that you help as many people as you can. I help people with content, with presence and stage presence and entertainment and monetization. How do you monetize what you're doing? Yeah. And then how do you get in touch with me? Excuse me, I am losing my voice today. So.
No worries, no worries. Ladies and gentlemen, we are real time. This is like real. Like, she's being as authentic and transparent as she possibly can. She's here. She's present.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into my whole allergy story right now and all that personal stuff. But anyway, so I could just go on forever. But anyway, yes. So the best way to get a hold of me is to set up a talk with me. And if you just go to speakwithmarla.com. And what I'm offering, you can go two ways. You can just get to know me better, and I can get to know you better, and we can just have a conversation, because I love to do that and find out what you're doing, what you're up to, what your challenges are. And I also have a pathway where you can, at that same link, speakwithmarla.com, I offer a hot or not speaker eval, where you can bring any part of your marketing message, your storytelling, your offers, any part of your talk, and we will see what is hot and what needs more spark so you can attract more people.
Well, let me say two things. Number one, thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. I know you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. So you're giving us the most precious resource you have, which is your time. So thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I love your energy. You're just amazing. I love that you have a late show, because I'm a night owl. So,
but thank you. And thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in, by the way, because without you, as I always like to say, we don't have a show, by the way. And I never get tired of remind you every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, no matter what's going on in your life, by the way, whether you're doing really, really well and you're going to that next level of success, joy, and happiness, or you've been hit with the punch that you never saw coming. The one thing I do believe is that today is your January 1st. And because of just that one reason alone, I believe your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. With that being said, my name is Shay Brown. It ain't changed. The Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And we'll make some good things how we connect again next time. God bless. We wish you success. Peace, everybody. We out of here. Bye-bye.
Thank you.